This is such a good exercise because it really challenges your brain. Well, you kind of have to have two, I feel like you have to have two brains almost, right? One brain's looking at the right hand and one brain is looking at the left hand. So here's my advice for this. It's about building your shape knowledge and your muscle memory on the strings. Any tips on working on 2 octave arpeggios with a different inversion in each hand at the same time? For example, the left hand in root position and the right hand in first inversion. This is such a good exercise because it really challenges your brain. So if I have my left hand in root position for the C arpeggio, I'm playing C, E, G, C. And because Karina says 2 octaves, I'm going to tuck my third. So my left hand's going to do this. Her right hand, she says, is in first inversion. This is going to make the exercise sound really beautiful. So her first inversion C is E, G, C, E, and she's going to be tucking her third to the G. Now again, if I'm moving through these shapes a bit fast for you, we have exercises which cover all of these shapes. So Karina's asking about the exercise which will look like this. Because when you tuck, you're placing different shapes in each hand. And so you have to really, well, you kind of have to have two, I feel like you have to have two brains almost, right? One brain's looking at the right hand and one brain is looking at the left hand because you're tucking to 2 different shapes. And especially when you tuck back, because then you have to get 4 fingers on and not just 3. So here's my advice for this. It's about building your shape knowledge and your muscle memory on the strings. So just to show you in your right hand, what you're going to do is, instead of just jumping straight to playing 2 octave arpeggios, which is what I just played, instead of just jumping straight to that, you're going to build, okay? So the first thing that you're building is the tuck. So instead of doing this, which is you building in the tuck, right? So you're only going to the tuck. The thing about doing this is it's great, but you're playing all these notes at the bottom when what you're really trying to practice is the tuck. So by all means do this a few times because you're warming up and it's great. It's a great stretch exercise. But when you're only practicing the tuck, you could actually just practice. Step 1, and then build in the finger 2 that you're tucking to, so it becomes, oh sorry, you're on different strings. Well, I have to think about that. So there you go, building in the finger 2, there's an exercise I should be doing. So I'm starting with just my 2 fingers placed. I know my third has to tuck. The nice thing is they're tucking the same distance. But when the 2 unfolds, that's when the distance is different, because my 2 in this hand is unfolding a third and my 2 in this hand is unfolding a fourth. Yeah? And so that's challenging for my brain. I've not done this in ages. So we're building it in. There we go. Oh no, I'm playing the same strings now. There we go. So you're building in that. And then you're going to build up to your thumb. So it becomes, yeah, and you're going all the way up. Now, I would then put in one kind of step, I guess, where instead of, because I'm building up to my, it kind of encourages you to place, like unfold your fingers onto the strings, which you don't really want. What you really want is your fingers to snap into place. So if you do this continuously, building that finger, then building the thumb, you'll end up very much doing Yeah, see how my fingers unfold, and what you really want is place. So the top two fingers place at one. So in order to mitigate that, I would then practice getting the thumb on. So not worrying too much about getting that finger two on, but getting that thumb on at the top. And then I add in this hand, which would be here. Yep, so see, I even have to, been a while since I've done this, my brain has to work. Nope. Okay, and then you're really thinking about that thumb reaching. And then what I would do is, so I have to make sure those two fingers at the top are placing at the same time because I'm going to play them as a chord. So I can't get away with placing them like folding onto the strings. And then hands together, that becomes... One more time. Okay, and then you're going to build up the same process coming back down. So you're adding one note at a time. And that will encourage you to fold your fingers onto the strings. But remember, you want to quickly move away from folding your fingers onto the strings. So when you're coming back down, you're obviously then going to be placing 4 fingers. So you'd build in the top. But of course, you'd just go from here. Then you'd build in the 2. But we really want to get these so that we're going... Yeah, we want them to get straight onto those strings. Bang. So then you would go to encourage that placement of all fingers at once.